Kia ora, good evening. Welcome to the Eye in the Sky Show podcast. So today I thought I would just do a quick little video to talk about soul contracts and how depending whether you're on an ascending path or a descending path, how it works in correlation to debt collection and soul contracts that you sign with God or Satan. So you'll notice that I've just recently put up 5 or 6 little videos that I recorded back in 2019 in regards to this problem that I'm having with my ex-husband, both ex-husbands, and the occult and blah, blah, blah. If you know my story, you'll understand everything that's going on, and why I've put these videos up is because it is a prime example. I keep saying in my videos and on my social media that the devil always has to announce itself first. The dark side, the devil, must let itself be known to you. It has to knock on your door, and you have to open that door and let it in order for it to have control of your house. Okay, so if you imagine that door is the door to your faith, or the door to your righteousness, the door to your purity, the door to your consciousness, the door to your heart, the door to your mind, however you want to look at it. The devil has to knock on the door. It cannot enter the kingdom that you reside in, the kingdom of God. It cannot enter the kingdom of your faith, the kingdom of your heart, the kingdom of your purity. It cannot enter any of it without being invited in. Okay, so the devil will announce itself in many ways, everything from when you see someone lurking outside your home, a couple of days before they break in, or, a few minutes before they try the door. Like they have to give themselves away in order to let you know that the darkness is coming, that trouble is coming, because what's no weapon formed against you shall prosper. If the dark side or the devil or any bad person with the devil in their spirit try to do anything that is harmful to an innocent person or to someone who's pure, and they enact that revenge or that act of indecency or whatever it is they're going to do, and they don't give the devil what they offered. Because basically when a person decides that they're going to do something that's wrong, that's morally and ethically wrong, they have effectively signed a contract with Satan. Okay, so imagine Satan is the bank and the devil is the debt collector, right? So the second you know that you're going to lie to get someone in trouble, the second you know you're going to break into someone's house to steal or assault them, or anything like that, the second you decide that that's what you're going to do, you've written up a contract with Satan. And then when you start enacting that plan, so when you actually speak the lie, when you commit the crime, when you put the plan into action to bring a person down or do a person harm and they're completely innocent, you have signed that contract with Satan. So then what happens, and when that plan fails, so say someone breaks into your home and they're going to rob from you and try and hurt you, and then you shoot them, because you were pure and innocent, and because they had to announce themselves first, you were able to defend yourself and they got karma. Because then what happens is, when you fail in your plan to deliver your contract, like, I'm going to hurt this person, I'm going to bring this person down, the devil says, right, come on then, let's do it. When you fail, the devil then has to collect that debt for Satan. So then in order to balance out the laws of the universe and the laws of karma, your debt has to be paid off somehow, so it then comes back on you or people around you. So often, when you commit sins against the laws of the universe or the laws of karma, or, you commit sins against God, whatever your faith or religion is, when you commit these sins, when you do these things that go against virtues and purity and morality and ethics, it will not only just affect you, it will affect the people around you as well. So often when you're having runs of bad luck, it could be because there's people in your life who have signed these soul contracts that they haven't been able to deliver on. So as part of their punishment, you get punished in return. So if the debt collector or the soul collector doesn't come after you, it will come after people around you to teach you a lesson. And they are like the Grim Reaper. There's no judgment. They'll go after children. They'll go after your pets, your jobs, all that sort of thing. To drum it home to you that when you say you're going to do something that is morally and ethically wrong, when you've signed that contract, you are now in debt to Satan, and God doesn't stop it, and your ancestors don't stop it, and you get no protection from God, and you get no protection from your ancestors, because it's a karmic lesson, and karmic lessons are harsh. And the only way that you will ever get salvation and forgiveness from your ancestors and your God is when you pay off that karmic debt and prove within like the purity of your heart that you've learned your lesson. But then if you pretend that, these people that say, I've learned my lesson, I've paid my debt to society, and then they get out of prison and commit more crimes, obviously their punishment is going to be harsher, because they were lying, and God, the same as Satan, knows your true intentions. But they also expect you to deliver on your word, and the words that you speak out into the universe, the very first words that you speak out when you sign that contract, is law. It's part of universal law, and it can never be taken back. So you can't do something bad to someone and then say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, when karma starts coming back at you, and saying, I'm so sorry, like, please forgive me, and all that sort of, like, it's too late, because you've already committed, you've signed the contract, and you've committed the sin, you've done those deeds that have gone against the laws of universal balance and the laws of karma. It's too late, and then, like, there is no salvation, there is no forgiveness. Like, it's like, don't think for 1 second that you can do something wrong, and then when karma starts coming at you and the people around you, that you can then ask for forgiveness and expect God and the people that you've hurt to forgive you, and that your karmic debt's going to go away, because it doesn't work like that. That's why, you have to stay morally righteous. You have to be honest. Even if being honest is like being brutally honest and it's going to hurt people's feelings, I always say it's better to be hurt by the truth than devastated by a lie, because the truth is the truth and it's fact. And you can't go back on truth. So, these videos, because I knew what was coming, because through my former student's dreams, because she was telling me what was coming, whether she knew it or not, she was preparing me for what was coming. She even, like the devil's in the detail. I've realized now that when in one of the videos where it says she stands on the owl and the eagle comes down and tells her off, I know exactly who the eagle is now, and it's not America, it's Canada. Canada has bald eagles, and I just found that out a couple of days ago when I was doing research, when I was thinking, oh my God, am I really supposed to be going to Canada? And then I found that video where she said that she was stopped from going into Canada. And the eagle came down and told her off, and she got scared and she got thrown on the roof and blah blah blah. I know exactly what that is now. I know who that is. I know what that is. I know what all of that is about. And back then, I thought I was going to New York. But in watching that video, like, the hair stood up on my body, because it's like the devil has revealed to me that the actual plan was to stop me from getting into Canada. It was never to stop me from getting into America, because the devil knew that I was never going to end up in America. The devil knew I was intended for Canada. And so that dream where she's talking about the spider and, being stopped from entering Canada, and that was the plan, to try and stop me from getting into Canada. and it's failed. The eagle came, and I know who the eagle is. I know, I know, and it's not an American eagle at all. It's Canadian eagle. And when I found that, because I was going through my phone, deleting, crap off my phone, and so I found a whole pile of these little videos, and I knew I'd put a couple up on Instagram, but there were some there that I didn't know that I've recorded. I've got loads of them. Conversations that I had with my ex-husband on the phone, conversations I had with former students, like I've recorded loads of them. And so I've put these particular ones up for a couple of reasons. One, you'll notice that Christopher Black, my ex-husband, the one who did all of this to me and my sons last year, the one that, I'm fighting for justice against, to bring justice to him and Rocio and that, he's in all the videos. It's him I'm talking to. You hear him talking. You also see him in the videos, and the interesting thing is that he had told the police and social services and the judge and blah 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 from last year that I'd only been making these accusations up for that I was delusional, and this was all a shock to him. He didn't see it coming, like playing the victim. But these videos prove that I've been talking about their plan to set me up and their plan to get me since like 2018, 2019. I've got some stuff, screenshots on Instagram from 2018, but these videos are from 2019. So he's lying when he says that like this was a relatively new thing. It's just that I had my suspicions he was in on something when I came back from Chicago, when I got out of the airport, and he started accusing me of he said that the students had approached him and told him that I was planning on like putting a tracker on his car, that I was planning on like controlling him and locking him down, and that they would help him get custody of the kids and get me kicked out of the country. So I documented it, and the proof, like I put it in an email to myself, and the email's there on my Instagram. But that's when I started sort of trying to pay attention, because I knew something was up. But he's so good at lying that I keep giving him the benefit of the doubt, because I keep thinking, like, he's the father of my children. He wouldn't do this, even though he keeps saying, when I was saying, why is he following my student on his Instagram? And he keeps saying, oh, I thought I'd taken her off and that, but he still kept her on this whole time. And so, like, it was always there in the back of my mind, and something kept saying to me, and this is what I was talking about in my, demonic possessions from Bible to Gen Z. When you listen to your instincts, when you combine your instincts with your intuition, your biometrics with your biorhythmics, you have that link, you have that, it's like that pitch perfect clarity. And every fibre of my being kept saying to me back then, record these little videos in front of Chris, make sure he's a witness. And now I know why I was making sure he was in these videos and it was him I was talking to. Because these are all things now that I can use against them in court when he tries to deny that he didn't know that I was saying all this stuff all along. He's actually in the video now, and it can't be denied. And so now, and I know for a fact that he's got caught out in some quite big lies with his company. And so now it's like the net that he cast to catch me in, because they used black magic. Remember, they used occult magic, thinking they knew what they were doing, which is why she was telling me these dreams, thinking that she was laying a trap, thinking they thought they were laying a trap. They cast the net out wide, and now they've been caught in their own net that they've cast. Do you see? Because, like, when you look at the occult, you have conjure and casting. And casting, the word casting, when you cast a spell or when you cast your magic, it's basically cast means to put in place, to set out the mold, to lay out the plan. And conjure means to gather from nothing. So they threw out their net thinking that they were casting this magic against me that was going to bring me in and lure me into their Black Swan, Operation Black Swan, Taleb, and they've now been caught in their own their own web. Hence why when she said about Canada it was a spider, because spiders in dreams represent surveillance. It represents eyes everywhere. It can represent gang stalking. It can represent being videotaped. It can represent gathering evidence, undercover, multiple eyes on you, and laying a trap for someone, so Operation Black Swan or Taleb. And so they thought they were laying this web of lies, which they were. They laid their web of lies thinking that me and my sons would be the prey, and what they didn't realise is that the web that they spun to try and catch me, to try and lure me in with the lies and their black magic and all that, has now been used as a net to catch them in their own immorality, illegal activities, blah blah blah, because I've gathered so much evidence against them to prove that I knew what they were doing all along. So any lawsuits or any legal action that they thought that they could lay against me will now mean nothing, because I knew it was coming all along. So this is a prime example of why you must always stick to the moral high ground. Always tell the truth, even when you're being scrutinised and victimised by people that they set against you, haters and people, the gang stalkers and that, to try and tear you down, your social group, the kids in your class, the kids in your work. It does not matter if these people, if your haters, if, the devil's minions, it doesn't matter what they say or what they do to try and pull you down to their level and prove themselves right. You must always, always stick to the moral high ground and stay true to your moral compass, because and take note of everything, gather evidence of everything, take photos, take videos, keep emails, take screenshots, gather as much evidence as you can from the second you start suspecting that the devil is lurking in your playground, because I guarantee you, when God comes along and catches them in their net, every little lie that they spun to make up that web to try and catch you in is going to be evidence you can then use against them in court, or when you have to defend yourself at work or at your school or whatever, you then have the evidence. And because you trusted your instincts and your intuition guided your instincts, and you knew immediately to hit record or leave that room, or whatever it is, I guarantee you it is going to work in your favour later on, because the devil is in the details, and you must always, always pay attention. Never disregard that little voice in your gut that says, I think they're lying, or something doesn't feel right, or I feel uncomfortable, or the hair stands up on your body, or the second that little thing pings in your head that goes, oh, something's not right here, hit record or take a note or get up and leave or pay attention. Never ever disregard that little voice in your head or that little voice in your gut that says they're lying, or I can't trust them, or and it's all, you're always going to know when it's real, because when that ping goes off, you feel it in your gut. It's like the warning signs or the red flags go up in your head, and it triggers that feeling in your gut, and your heart might start pounding really fast, or your hair might stand up on end, or you feel really nervous and jittery. Never ever ignore the warning signs or the warning bells in your head when it's triggering a physical reaction of panic or fear or distrust, or that sort of thing, because that is your consciousness, that is your soul, that is God, that is your ancestors, that is your spirit guides, the universe, whoever you want to call it, ringing the alarm bells and saying, warning, 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 Will Robinson, you're in danger, or this person isn't who they're making out to be, or so never ever disregard that little ping that goes off that lets you know something isn't right. And whether it's with someone that you least suspect or someone you've been suspecting all along, the second that ping goes off, you're being told to pay attention, and then you must have your shields up, put your protection shields on, and always be very wary and distrusting of that person, because God doesn't lie, your consciousness doesn't lie. And that's why she was telling me her dreams or telling me her intentions, because her higher conscious self, at the time she was still in my life, she was still under like a mild amount of protection, because she hadn't actually done anything to, like, my husband and I were still together at the time, so the plan hadn't fully come into action, so she still had time to do the right thing. And by her not doing the right thing, these videos are now evidence to use against her, and it's now going to come back on her, where she has to pay off her karmic debt, and the soul collector is now coming, and everyone in her life and that is going to pay for her karmic debt, because of what they've all done to me and to my children. Because you have to remember as well, they targeted children, innocent children, to get back at me. And so that is a gross violation, because my children were, this was like what, 5 years ago. So they weren't even teenagers then, they were like 8-9 years old, so they were like innocent little children, and they targeted them as well. So now this is all being used as an example, where oddly now former students have been used as an example for me to teach everybody out there on how to deal with the dark side, and what to do when the devil comes knocking on your door, and why it is so important that you must always stick to your moral high ground, because it will come back to bite you in the end. The soul collector always comes to collect the debt. The soul collector is like the Grim Reaper, but instead of taking your life, they take your soul, they take your consciousness, they take any ounce of purity that you had, and they basically put you in purgatory, which is you're in between light and dark, where you have no salvation, where you have no protection, where you have no ancestral guidance or intuition or gifts or anything like that. You're put in purgatory, where you're basically in no man's land, soul-wise, until you pay off your karmic debt. And that can take centuries, depending on what you've done, so the most important thing is never ever ignore that voice that says something isn't wrong, because you'll always feel it in your gut. If you have the voices in your head, like if it's paranoia, where it's like it's not because like what will happen is someone will do something will happen, and your body will react first, so it'll feel like you've gotten like a sucker punch to the gut or to the heart, and then your mind will go, oh, I think they're lying, or oh, I don't know who that person is, I think they're coming to break in. But your body will react first, because it's your biomagnetic parameter, and because they're living beings and they're entering your biomagnetic parameter, and they are of a lower vibration, it will always trigger your security alarm physically. Like your physical security alarm will get triggered, and then as soon as that alarm goes off, that's when your higher self comes in and your intuition kicks in. So your instincts will go off first to know that something isn't right. Then your intuition will automatically come in and say, get up and run, hit record, call the police. Then the voice will tell you what to do. You can't trust this person, get your phone out and hit record. You can't trust this person, get your phone out and call 911 or 999 or whatever. So you'll feel it, and then you'll think it, or you'll feel it first and then you'll know it. So don't ever ignore that. If you've just got the voices in your head, and by the voices in your head making you paranoid and twitchy and anxious, then that is a psychological imbalance, in which case you need to sort that out, and recalibrate your biorhythmic frequency. But if your body reacts first, and then the voice in your head kicks in and says, get up and run, or do not get in that car, or do not trust that person, or he's cheating, she's lying, they've stolen, whatever, then that's when you know that it's the voice of God, or your higher consciousness, or your soul, or your ancestors, universe, the divine, whoever it is that you thinks controls that part of you. and always, always stick to the moral high ground. Always do the right thing. Always, always. Even when everybody else around you is judging you for it, penalising you for it, or criticising you for it, always do the right thing, because it pays off later on, I promise you. Never ever let anyone tempt you from your ascension path, which is what those dreams were, is that they were trying to tempt me from my ascension path, thinking I'd panic, thinking I'd react to it. The one that disturbed me the most was when she's talking about the kids committing suicide, jumping off the bridge, telling me to go and jump off the bridge with them, because that was an obvious sign, like it was enough to scare me enough to know that I was around something dark, that when she told me that dream, that I hit record and made sure that I had a witness to her, to me recounting that dream she told me, because bridges in dreams is your spiritual path. And she was saying in this dream, her and these children, the children were jumping off the bridge committing suicide, and they were happy about it, and the kids were telling her to lure me onto the bridge, and so that I would jump off and commit suicide. And that's when I knew she had signed a contract. She'd signed her soul away. And her conscious mind, while it was still in my parameter, still had like an iota of protection, was warning me enough to give her enough of a chance to do the right thing, but of course she didn't. So now this is all going to be used against them, and is part of my story, and the quantum menace, and why I call it psyops. Why I call them psyops, because they try to use psychic operative techniques to try and get me away from my path. But what they actually did was they lead me in the right direction. So now the soul collectors come, and while I get to go off and start my new life, they're now going to have to spend the however next many years or decades paying off their karmic debt, because the soul collectors come, and now they're going to be in the hands of Satan, because God will have nothing to do with them. Because once you sign that contract and you commit those deeds, it can take lifetimes. You can sometimes have to come back 5, 6, 100 times to make up some of the sins that people commit, in their lifetime on earth. It can take them a long time before God will even let them, take the first step up to the stairway to heaven, if that's where you believe you go. I'm using God and heaven in these terms because it's the most iconic term to explain what happens when we die. But you know what I mean? So this is a lesson to everybody. Never not do the right thing. Always do the right thing. Stick to your morals, stick to your ethics, stick to the law. Never step off the moral high ground. Always, always take the moral high ground, and never not listen to that voice in your gut that tells your voice in your head that you need to act, and you need to act now, because I promise you, even if it's 5, 10, 15 years down the line, or 2 days later, you're going to be so grateful you did. I promise you, and it's always going to work in your favour. So I just thought I would put that out there. It's just another wee lesson for you all out there, who are ascending or want to understand how, demonic possessions work, or how, you enter into soul contracts with God and Satan and all that, because it's good to know these things, because we're living in very dark times at the moment, and too many people are choosing the wrong path. And so I'm trying to help people choose the right one, because, the more people we can help step into the light, the faster we get to evolve as a civilization, and the further our universe expands, and then we get to see all the good stuff on the other side. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and just the videos that I've put up, they're only like a couple of them are like less than a minute, and then I think the others are like a minute and 3 minutes or something. But have a look at them, and notice it's the animals as well. The animals in her dreams were letting me know, and even Chris at one point in one of the car videos is talking about ravens, because they're all my totems. So the animals were letting me know through the people I was around what was coming, and why it was so important that I hit record, and trusted my intuition to hit record to document all of this stuff that was about to happen like a few years later. It was only a couple of weeks after I recorded these videos that my husband left. And then it was 2 years after that, my ex-husband, Chris, lied to the police and, poisoned my pizza and gave me the speedball, and all hell broke loose. But, it actually liberated me. I'm just now trying to liberate my boys so that we can go to Canada and be with the eagle. I almost fell over when I realised Canada has bald eagles too. And so now I know, with all the eagles I've been dreaming about other than Head of the Eagle, although I'm even, I don't know. I don't know. But I almost fell over when I found out that Canada has bald eagles too. Because now I know who the eagle is that I've been seeing in my dreams. And although I'm pretty sure that eagle isn't my Head of the Eagle, because I haven't seen Head of the Eagle since he gave me my wings and crossed over. But I definitely know who the eagle is in my dreams that aren't Head of the Eagle, and in my student's dream as well. Like now I know who it is. Now I know what it is. It all makes perfect sense, and it's not an American eagle; it's a Canadian eagle. So have a good evening, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the description box below, and I will speak to you later. Ka kite.